This is the first of two videos on RUP reporting. We're going to break this down to two videos because 39 of the states fall under the type of reporting that is strictly under the federal EPA guidelines. The other 11 states, California, Connecticut, New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, they all have their own EPA and their own additional products above and beyond the federal listing. So we'll look at that part in the second video. But for right now, we're going to look at strictly the federal RUP filing or the federal RUP reporting process. Once we get the report in from Levi, we put it into the folder reports from Levi and save it in a uniform pattern as shown right here. Say if we got the August report in, I'll open that August report, take this report then, and let me shrink this down for just 1 minute. Go back to this section right here. I have a template called the All Federal RUP Sales Totals template, and it's a master. And what I want to emphasize about the template masters or any type of a template is that when you open it up, the first thing you need to do is do a save as and call it a different name, because you don't want to break the integrity of this template right here or ruin the integrity of this template. So we'll open up this template. It's a blank form. And we're going to go back to that one file that we just opened up in August. What this file entails is all the information necessary to make a good solid RUP report. And we're going to take this and we're going to highlight the very top row, A2 all the way over to X2. We're going to use the Shift and Control and the down arrow, and we're going to copy the whole thing. Sometimes you may have a blank space in a place and it may not go to the very bottom of this list, but keep pressing the Control Shift and the page down until you get to the bottom of the listing of all of the sales. These are not just RUP sales. These are all the sales for the month of August. As you can see, it's 83,279 lines long. At this point, I'm going to just do a right click and copy. I'll shrink this down. And in the all federal listing right here, I'm going to call this save as, and we'll look at where we're going to put this right here. We're going to put this into the sales of 2020. So we'll go to the 2020 sales reports and we'll go in here. I already have an August report in here with an underscore at the end of the 2020 to show that it's different. So I'm going to save it as this. Okay, now we're back in this report, of which this report that was a template, we just saved it now as a working report. We're going to come here to the A2, since we've already copied the data from the other sheet, from the August sales. And, well, it won't let us do that right now. We'll have to go back and recopy. Okay, I'm going to do a right click and copy. And I'll come back here again and I'll say paste. This is a real simple sheet, basically. You have all the sales in the company for the month of August. And what we're going to do is these macro buttons will help identify the RUPs, and it's going to organize the RUPs sold in every state for the whole month and organize them to the very top of the page. So I'll click on this, and sometimes it takes a minute. It moves pretty quickly normally. And the return is, again, since we're working off of EPA numbers, all the orange highlighted EPA numbers are coming up to the top for each of the states. As you can see, a lot of different states represented here. So we're going to save this once again, since we've organized this page. Now what we'll do is we're going to go to the scroll bar on the right and scroll down to the very bottom and see try to find the very last orange colored cell. And this is a bit sensitive, so at this point, at 515, I've just highlighted, hit click on the 515, left click on the 515, And we don't need anything below this. Anything that's not lit up, we can do a shift control down and we can just say delete. Now we have nothing but the RUP sales, period. So in this case right here, we're going to go ahead and say, okay, we're going to save this now as the Federal Report August 2020. We don't need to have it set up anymore as any other name. So at this point, now that we've established the sales for the month of August, as you can see, there was 515 sales, or 514 sales of all the different RUP products. We can now go back to our file folders and go back to the reporting. And in this report right here, I have two more templates. One template that if you're starting out the new year, you can use this blank template. As of right now, though, I've created a template that will help organize all the federal sales to all the states in this folder right here. Again, this is a template, but it's a working folder. I've saved it as a working folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, open this folder up. What it's already done, I've already done, is been able to go in here and paste in the RUP sales for each month, and then I've clicked the alpha by state and by date, and it separates everything. I've created folders, so each folder now has sales of RUPs starting back from January and coming up to this month of August. As you can see here, evidently Alabama had no sales in August. Colorado, all the RUP sales are broken down now, so it makes it easier to isolate. If somebody needs some Georgia data, say Georgia data for sales for January through today or through August, you have all the RUP sales from January 1 all the way to here, so everything's good. However, this report also will give you a good idea on what information is lacking for these RUP sales. Obviously, for Georgia, we have a lot of information that needs to be filled in or brought into NAV 18 so that we can get this report looking the way it's supposed to. Okay, so that, just to go back a minute and take one step backwards, I said that this report, I've loaded up all of the January through August. Typically, when September comes up, you just go to the bottom of this report, and from this report that we just did, the federal report we just did, if this were September's report, we'd copy and copy this. Again, we can go all the way to the far right and page down, Control Shift page down. We could copy this and go back into this collective federal RUPs from January to August. And at the very bottom of that, we'll just paste that in there. Then we go back up to the top of this sheet where we have these two macros. And at this point, we can click on the alpha by state. It alphabetizes those new entries we put into this form. And then we can go create new folders. What it'll do now is create folders from that new data we put in there and add them to the folders that are already there, or create new folders if new states are listed. So the black folders are folders that represent nothing but the federal RUP sold. The red folders are the special states. And for the most part, they don't have really much bearing on any reports for these states, because we're going to go in and into each one of these states on the next video and create their own RUP sheet and their RUP collective sheet for each of these states, because they have their own additional products that are different from everybody else. So this is a real quick look at what you have here. And, you know, again, you don't have to go back and recreate folders and copy and paste folders anymore. You can go in, and now the sheet that says create folders, and it's created all these good folders for all the sales that have taken place. But keep in mind, again, and then going back to this main folder right here, it's a good folder to look at, because you can see all the yellow spaces here of I think there's a couple of thousand RUPs that were sold from January till now in the federal states, and you can see that we're missing some data. So this would be a very good sheet to always go back to. And of course, once you save this, right, you can click Save or Save As, and just change the name from January to August to January to September if you do September's, as well as November's once you do November's, October, so forth and whatnot. So that's a real quick look at what we have here and how simple it is at this point to create an RUP report.